from those employers, and they were very dynamic speakers, and they gave up their time. So we are very, very thankful to them. The Pipeline Fair, they had a lot of fun. They were able to go to different booths, and a lot of our clusters were represented. We had business administration, of course, our manufacturing, hospitality and tourism, education. Natchitoches Parish School Board was represented. Our early childhood network was represented. And yes, some students did apply for some jobs. I need to follow up and see if they got them.
They got a lot of swag too, right?
Oh, the swag was amazing, I think, and the candy. Pilgrim's Pride gave shade, so everybody was walking around really cool. They had a lot of fun. And one very, very important session was power skills. So some of our industry partners said, we're going to get up in front of students and we're going to tell them what it means to be successful in the workplace. So that's exactly what happened here. And of course, some extra pictures just from all of the things happening that day. It was a very full day, a lot of movement, but it took a lot of help, a lot of volunteers. Some of you were there to see it. And as I said before, we're already looking to start planning sometime around in June and July for Work Summit 2024. So if anyone has any questions, just let me know.
I got a comment. It was supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
And all of the people who, I didn't know we had that many, opportunities.
Yes.
And I think the kids didn't recognize it
They didn't.
either. So I think some folks will never be exposed to things. So we brought it to them to expose them. I'm just thankful for you all putting it together. And I know it took a whole lot of work to get it together, and it was done with a spirit of perfection.
And I gotta say, I know this was Laura Lyles in the chamber and a lot of people, but all I did was say, hey, Miss Felicia, the board would really like to see this happen, and then I did nothing, and she did all that stuff. So kudos to her and her team and all the partners, because they just did it.
They did it. Did it. Thank you.
Real quick, board, before we move, I know Ms. McGaskey has an item on the superintendent report that I'm going to throw over to her in a second, but we've been trying to figure out board retreat dates. We're kind of all over the place, I'll be honest with you, but due to timing for staff and the need to get everything ready for y'all, I've tried to narrow it down to a Friday or a Saturday. Based on all the dates I gave y'all, it is impossible to have 100% of y'all there. I've come to realize. Can we settle on May 26th or May 27th? And if you're not able to be there, we could still provide the Zoom, or we could videotape for your viewing afterwards. And we can do, now one of those is a Saturday, so we would have to do that, I think, like mid-morning to afternoon. The Friday we can do at any point during the day that would get the most amount of people. It really is up to y'all collectively in the majority.
I think if it's whatever it is, if it's after hour, most of the people can adjust their schedule.
So when do you start summer
I'm
hours?
just saying.
Summer hours is not until June.
Okay, well, you're, okay.
But
Would
you're
y'all-
saying even if it's the 26th of Friday, it could be later that day.
Right. That's what
Correct.
that's what I'm saying.
Correct.
And most of the people are able to make those accommodations.
Yeah, because that Monday is a holiday.
Memorial
Yes.
Day.
Yeah.
Well, I vote
It's
the
such a
26th.
busy day for folks.
So do we think Friday after hours we could do that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
We
Perfect.
can do it Friday after hours, that's the only way I can make it.
Now, when y'all say after hours, does that mean, can we start around 3:30, or is 4 o'clock after hours for most?
So 5 o'clock is.
5 o'clock?
5 o'clock.
Okay, 5 o'clock. Okay. All right, I'm gonna put 5 o'clock, the 26th.
We're talking about 3 hours of,
I think about 3 hours, yes, ma'am. And we can get some supper for everybody.
Yeah, I know that Lee know how to go get a
We're gonna find a location, and we'll get back to y'all. But we had to solidify the time and date, because we were struggling there for a second, so. All right. With that being said, Ms. McGaskey, I believe you have a guest under the superintendent report. Would you like to take that?
Yes, I would. It is my pleasure to introduce to those that don't know, and for those that do know, Dr. Ross Williams, who is a product of Natchitoches, Louisiana. He was born and raised here. He is from a family of educators. His mother, Miss Emma Williams, was a educational education pioneer here in Natchitoches. Both sisters, one is present here today with him, and they're both longtime educators, retired here in Natchitoches. He was in the education arena for over 20 years, a superintendent in the Dallas and San Antonio district. And he works, though he's been a resident of Dallas, Texas for a long time, he is back and forth between Natchitoches and Dallas, Texas, because he works in this community, the Natchitoches community. He's concerned about the children, the students in the Natchitoches community. And so he's going to present to us the STEAM Collaborative. I did send some information out to the board so that they would have some information prior to, and I appreciate our secretary and our superintendent. We were trying to get it on before school was out, get it on the agenda. And when I make a promise, I'd like to try to keep it. I think that it's worthwhile, and I hope that the board is open-minded and, will listen to, it is a informational today, but hopefully we can be possibly looking towards collaborative, hopefully in the future with some of the programming. I'll present to you Dr. Russ Williams.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's an honor, first of all, to be here in your presence and knowing that the work that you do is so important. And to be a native son of Natchitoches, Louisiana, and know the work that is required by each teacher, because I was a teacher before I became a superintendent, the work that is involved to educate our youth. You need to be recognized and honored. And it was just so exciting to see the work that has been done in the various areas within the district. To celebrate those students today and those staff members were phenomenal. What I'm here for is to be an addition to and to support the innovative and the creative things that you are currently doing within the district. And without me speaking to it, I'm going to share with you what I'm talking about. Somebody taught me well. Good tutor. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay. Hopefully the sound and everything works well. I'm Dr. Ross F. Williams, Jr., a native of Natchitoches, Louisiana, and I'm here to share with you some exciting elements of the STEAM Collaborative. As a part of the STEAM Collaborative, we have the Alamo Arts Academy and we have PAM Media Outreach that have come together to focus on this STEAM initiative. The Lee Fisher STEAM Academy seeks to provide a challenging learning environment which maximizes individuals' potential and assures students are well equipped to meet the challenges of the 21st century. This was a dreamchild of the Emma Robinson Williams Education Foundation, which has been in existence over 24 years in the community of Natchitoches Parish. We're excited that Lee Fisher STEAM Academy has partnered with the Alamo Arts Academy and PAM Media Outreach, and we're looking forward to implementing these programs within the Natchitoches Parish school system, as well as a 3-day summer camp. Research says that the STEAM approach is promising and that it positively impacts student achievement and teacher effectiveness. In 2016, researchers investigated the impact of STEAM lessons on physical science learning in the 3rd and 5th grades, and our poverty student schools in the urban district settings have improved immensely. It also found that students who received just 9 hours of STEAM instruction made improvements in their science achievements. As the former superintendent of the Academy of Dallas and Bexar County Academy, I've had the opportunity to work and collaborate with the Alamo Arts Academy as well as PAM Media Outreach. We had an actual practicum that was initiated by the district, and we participated in a practicum in my hometown of Natchitoches Parish, the legacy of a native son. And what a wonderful experience that was for our scholars. Wow, day one was so exciting. The students got off of the bus along with the Eagle leaders. They were greeted and they went to the boardroom. And the boardroom represented what we want them to be, future entrepreneurs and CEOs of their own companies. So they had a chance to sit at the table. And I had an opportunity to kind of talk to them specifically about the week and what it was going to look like go ahead, to give them the experience where they would meet and talk to entrepreneurs, CEOs from varied organizations in the city. They had an opportunity to go to Northwestern State University, and the Panhellenic Council came and actually greeted them and did like a little mini Greek show. So it was an encouraging factor to say, hey, when you get out of high school, definitely go to college and get some training behind you. Day two, we had the opportunity to go to the Rock Brothers Farm, which is a minority farm with over 800 acreage. It was amazing. They had a chance to look at the actual farm animals, chickens, goats, and also they are known for their pecan orchards, where they harvest pecans as well. The takeaway for me is I hope that I inspire them to be even greater, to unlock those gifts and talents that is placed within inside of them that we've cultivated a new outlook, exposure, a desire to want to travel more and to be entrepreneurs and to be businessmen, and also more specifically, be authors of their own narratives, being able to speak to their family legacy and lineage. Even if they're the first student to graduate from college, that's a story in itself, and the struggles that even go behind that in order to make them a success. As a part of this collaborative, not only do we have the Alamo Arts Academy, we have PAM Media Outreach, and we're excited with the programs that it offers.
We're trying to bring the community together so that they can learn about issues that maybe they don't pay attention to, or issues that they just don't know or have information on.
It teaches responsibility, it teaches how to organize, it teaches how to work with others that we may not know.
I would definitely put it out more to the public that this is a good experience.
Wow, where do I start? I believe that we have the solution to connect with inner city and urban high school youth. This journey has been a whirlwind based on God's vision. We started 6 years ago with the vision of going into an inner city and urban high school. My goal was to teach the youth to organize and participate in an urban communities teen summit and work with community leaders such as mental health professionals and law enforcement and other community leaders. With the team that helped get this program started in Sam Houston, we pulled it together and began our incredible journey at the outstanding Sam Houston High School. Their experience was a success. That was the beginning of PAM Media Outreach Urban Communities Teen Summit. I saw the transformation of these youth leaders from Sam Houston High School during the 9 weeks the program was in their school. The decision was made to add more schools in the San Antonio market, and we did. The inner city schools that had our program youth successfully organized and participated in their very own PAM Media Outreach Urban Communities Teen Summit. I could not stop there. The following year, God's vision came to fruition in Austin, Texas. But it did not stop there. The following year, the decision was made to start researching the 9-week program as we began to label and brand the program as a leadership program teaching leadership skills. Well, let's fast forward. We are now in our 6th school year and are in 4 different markets. We have teamed up with our leaders of these communities and markets that PAM Media Outreach 9-week program will be serving. Our 9-week leadership program needs to be in our inner city and urban community high schools because these youth need direction from a negative environment to some hope. We are still in our San Antonio market serving Sam Houston High School, Memorial High School, John F. Kennedy High School. By the way, I am excited to announce our leadership program is in Bexar County Academy Middle School. This venture will give our middle school youth the beginning stage of learning leadership skills. I am so excited to work with their leadership team at Bexar County Academy Middle School. We are also proud to announce we have landed our leadership program in Houston Jack Yates High School. The leadership team from Jack Yates saw the need to bring our leadership program into their school.
I think it gives the students a chance to become involved in the community, to give back, gives them an opportunity to learn from other people outside of Yates, outside of 3rd Ward. So I think it'll have a real big impact on the school.
Last, I am super excited to announce that PAM Media Outreach is now in my alma mater, Lamarck High School in Lamarck, Texas. I am excited to be on this incredible journey God has allowed me and our team to be on. By expanding the 9-week leadership program to other markets and into middle schools, we have expanded our educational team. With all of the excitement of having our leadership program in the inner city and urban community high schools and middle schools, We want to express our gratitude to the administrators for saying yes. I want to have this program all over the country, so our inner city and urban high school youth will have their voices heard with the help of our incredible middle school youth.
Wow, what an amazing opportunity for the students of Natchitoches Parish and the community at large. We are looking for community support in all facets. We want to be integrated within the community, and we're extremely excited about the possibilities. It is the goal of this actual presentation that we're sharing with you is to entice you to get excited and get motivated in the community around STEAM. It is important that we get our children prepared in the 21st century, and this collaborative is an effective, innovative approach in doing so. Help us bring the STEAM collaborative to Natchitoches Parish. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and we're looking for great news and great things that are happening with our scholars in Natchitoches Parish. Looking forward to working with you, the STEAM collaborative. So as you can see, I have personal hands-on experience and knowledge around these two different programs. They were extremely successful, not only in the districts that I served, but also in other districts within the state of Texas. One of the motivators for me bringing it to the board, but first of all, having conversations prior to with the superintendent, was because a number of the parents, a number of the community stakeholders came up to my scholars and staff talking about exactly what are you all doing here by students being actively engaged and actually being the photographers, the videographers, and then actually developing as a part of their practicum, a documentary about their experience. It's all about innovation, creativity, and getting students involved in the part of the learning process. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. If you have any questions, maybe at a later date. I know you have a long agenda, and I understand that as a former superintendent. I'm willing to stay around and answer those questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes my superintendent report.
Okay, the consent agenda, I think we'll deal with next Thursday. Informational reports.
Real quick, Mr. Benefeld, I just want to let everyone know that Miss Felicia Washington will have her written report next week, but she had a family.
Right.
Go ahead, Pastor.
We want to be in prayer for her family. She had a brother who passed away, so let's be in prayer for them. Along with one of our students, let's be in prayer for that family as well, because it's affecting our whole system, because we have adults as well as parents within that system that it affects, so it ought to affect all of us. So please be in prayer for all those people. And then we have another former educator in our district, one of whom I served with many years out in Shady Grove, Miss Joanne Knighton, passed away. So please be in prayer for that family as well.
Thank you, Reverend Harris. Ms. Page, would you like to lead us off? Ms. Page, is there anything we can do to add to your confusion?
Well, I'm not. I would just like to say, yes, I would just like to say that, I don't care what it feels like, we're still winning. Those children didn't encourage us tonight. We are still winning. So we're doing better than we might feel sometimes. So that's really all I want to say. I want to remind you that we are going to recognize our Employees of the Year Thursday, right before our meeting. You know, we do that all the time, so come on, we're gonna have a little good food and a lot of good little fellowship, because I would like to encourage everybody to live every single day, every moment, because we just don't know. Do you have any questions about what we have here?
Yes, ma'am. Items M through Q, are these substitutes that are just long-term subs and we're catching up with them?
Kinda. They are actually our special project substitute teachers. They're a little more locked in than the regular teachers.
Yes, ma'am.
So that we can do the planning, the cluster meetings and the things that are required by the district.
That's great.
So that's what the special projects, substitute teacher does, assist with?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's great.
I want to ask that question.
They're all ESER 3 too.
Yes, sir.
And I noticed that some of the numbers are different. Is there a reason for that as well?
Yes, sir.
We'll talk later. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I mean, think about it.
All right.
Subs are always paid a little different depending on what
Right,
they have.
right.
Their credentials.
Right, absolutely. Okay.
Do we have anything else?
How long will the special project teachers be, working? Is it this ongoing because there's ESSA funding?
It's through the end of this year, and then we'll have to reevaluate for next year. I'm looking at Ms. Resho when I say this. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Okay. Ms. Hicks, thank you.
Evening. I still have March numbers on your report because our April numbers are not in. That paperwork comes in a little bit. Our meeting feels a little early this time, so I should be able to get those to you. I hope I can get them to you for Thursday. Still have not heard from the state equipment grant. We've had a lot of turnover in our department at the state level, so I think they're just kind of finding their footing on a couple of things because that still hasn't come through, and they still haven't given us any information on the third round of supply chain funds. So I really do think that has a lot to do with what they're experiencing at the state. Except for Lakeview and East, our dishwasher installation is complete. There's a little tweaking here and there to get everyone up and running, but I got a picture from Fairview today of the children going with their lunch trays to the dish room, so I was excited to get that. Friday is School Lunch Hero Day. So I would like to thank our cafeteria staff as well as our office staff and warehousemen and Mr. Shirley's crew who pinch hits for us a lot if we get in a bind. They work diligently to provide breakfast and lunch for the students of our parish. If you see a member of our team, please thank them for their service. We couldn't have school without them. So we're very proud of the work they've done this year, and Friday is the day to recognize that. Thursday on the agenda, you'll notice that I will be requesting permission to advertise for bids for a walk-in cooler and freezer. We're trying very hard to be proactive instead of reactive with some of our equipment replacement and making a prioritized list of things and getting ahead of things breaking necessarily where we're in a panic. So that will represent one of the first pieces we're going to try to procure in the next fiscal year. But I'll be asking for permission on Thursday to go ahead and put that out for bid. Do you all have any questions?
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Hicks, you have been battling, I guess, for the last year and a half to have the backup generators hooked up. So where are we with that right now?
Well, we are exploring right now. We have, yeah. No. Mr. Wascom's looking at me like, how is she going to talk about this? We are.
Well, I realize it's difficult because there are a lot of hands involved.
Well, there are, and it's a money thing. But we are exploring the idea of consolidating some of our freezers and coolers at the warehouse. What we have is kind of ancient, so we are just in the phase of seeing what it would actually cost to consolidate and have more of one sort of drive-in freezer and one huge cooler as opposed to 11 different units that are all different. So before we hook a generator to anything, we would like to see if we're going to be able to make that transition, because the needs would be different for the generator to take care of that as opposed to what we have presently.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're trying to do what's best and most efficient within our budget.
But we're in the first week of May, and your data at the end of March, which is 45 days behind roughly, says that you've served 750,000 meals.
The number, that's right.
That's amazing.
And I'll give you an update for April, but I don't have the numbers yet. Yeah, they've been busy. They've been busy. Everybody's eating well, I hope. So I'll keep you posted on what we find out about that potential project. It may be out of our reach, but we're going to at least see what we might be able to do.
Yeah, we're 3 weeks away from hurricane season.
As I'm well aware. It's on my mind too. My mind too.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we skipped Mr. Shirley evidently. No, he's not on. He's not on there.
Yes, my computer actually failed me this week, so I'm sorry, guys.
We didn't intentionally skip you.
It's okay. I don't mind at all. Just kind of elaborate on what she was talking about for as the generator. The reason we're looking at the freezer cooler combo and going so large is because it will cut down on the amount of compressors that would be kicking on at one time and kicking on and off. So that would actually let us downsize the size generator we need to keep that going. So that will help us drive the price down on the installation of a generator. So that's the reason we're going this route. Her things are kind of old, and they're going to be being replaced shortly. So if we can do it all in one, we would have 4 compressors instead of 16. So that's kind of just to add to what she had. First of all, do y'all have any questions on the report? It's basically about the same as we had last time, other than we have moved 50.
We won't see it.
It's basically the same we had last time. We've moved a lot of equipment to the warehouse for the auction. As Dr. Eloy says, it will be Saturday, 9 a.m. We have a lot of things. We're still adding things. We still have to go to Natchitoches Central and pick up a few items. I'm going to say we've probably had 200 people in the last week come through to want to do a walkthrough. We probably had 35, 40 today. So they're getting ready. They're coming. So I hope y'all are ready. I'm ready. I hope y'all are. Let's see. Major things we had going on is some sewer issues we had at Goldonna. We had to unstop some of the drain pipes there. Had a pretty good stoppage. Actually had a T-shirt and some more stuff in it that actually impacted it pretty good. Yes, sir. It's amazing what you'll find in one.
Was there a name on the tag? Did you?
No, sir. Unfortunately, it was not. It was a plain white tee, so we had no evidence. No evidence. Yeah, that.
Yeah,
I don't want to dig that.
Yeah, there'll probably be some other.
Yeah, I don't want to dig that deep. We've had a few furniture pickups and assemblies throughout the district where we've actually started getting some new furniture in, and we're actually putting it together for people, new office furniture, things that's been needed. We met with a contractor out at Marthaville. We're looking at our badge pass system, changing out some doors, so we're getting some pricing on that. We're hoping to be able to move forward with that here soon and kind of make them our guinea pig, as you say, to work out all the bugs and the good things about this system that we would like to try to start implementing through the whole parish. Other than that, I actually attended a conference last week for 3 days. There's some big issues coming up for the safety side of things that I will be getting with you guys on a later date. We're going to have to start doing some things. There's some, as Dr. Eloy was saying earlier about all the things that's on the docket. There's some safety bills that's in there, and if they pass, they will be mandatory by April of 2024.
That's great, Mr. Shirley, because I was going to talk to Reverend Harris, Ms. Harvey, Ms. Page, Ms. Phelps, and myself, and we were just going to try to have a committee meeting in the next 3 weeks somewhere. If we can all get together and just get a benchmark. Where are we
right
now, and where we need them? So the 5 of us that are on the safety team.
Okay. And one of those issues is they have basically a first alert that they're wanting every single parish to have. It will be an app on everybody's phone. A lot of the parishes already met the goals. They already have it in place to where it's basically a 911 app. If something was to go down, hit a button, it alerts whoever they hit, fire, police. So it basically calls 911. So that's just some of the things we'll be looking at coming down the pipe here in the future.
And that's for all school employees?
Yes, ma'am. All janitorial staff, kitchen staff, all the way up to the principal.
What about bus drivers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That app was introduced to us down at the state.
Mm-hmm. And they're actually pushing, and it's a bill that they're trying to pass, that it will be mandatory. And if it passes, which I'm figuring it will, as much as school safety is going on right now, and it's in the forefront, it needs to pass, and we will have to comply. Anybody have any questions for me? Any concerns?
Yes. I guess when we first came, we were trying to put in some like machines or something whereby.
I just had Fastenal reach out to me today. I had them reach out to me today. They actually have a presentation that me and Lee will go through next week. They have locked things down, so we have a full presentation of what they can do for us next week. So me and him will meet with them, and we will try to get it in front of y'all for the next board meeting. So, well, not the next meeting, the June.
I was going to add that they're moving from the idea of putting machines in each of the buildings, putting them in the trucks. So they're always with our group. They have these big rollout things, and all the tools and stuff they may need. As soon as they pull it, then it becomes when we get.
We will basically be a mobilized.
Mobile Fastenal.
And we will go by there once a week or twice a week, however we need. They will be able to scan a barcode inside the truck and see how many we have and how many we're supposed to have. So we will actually be restocking the trucks. Now, we will have things at our warehouse on the shelf, but to put all those machines in those areas, it's going to be a headache to try to keep track of them. So they've actually came down and came up with a plan, and I met with them 2 weeks ago, and they were almost done and ready. So she actually called me yesterday and said, hey, we're ready to present it to you and Mr. Wascom. So they were looking at next week. If we have it before the next board meeting, I will gladly bring it. But I just don't know what time next week or what day we actually have planned to meet. We haven't set the date yet. Yeah, I'm
Putting them on the truck, it's still gonna be that they have a code or barcode. Okay.
It will be inventory tracking. Yeah,
It'll be on consignment. Still be on consignment.
That I don't know. That's part of the meeting next week. We will find out.
Is that Lisa? Meeting with Lisa?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anybody else?
Have we done the 30-day water test?
No, we have not. It's due in 2 weeks. But I've done some research. I got with Kim Aqua on those tests. They are mandatory to do every 30 days. They have to. The actual MSDS sheet, I have copies of all that. I know we had some concerns, people was asking some questions, but it's USDA approved. It's got, if anybody needed to see it, it actually has all of the information on it. Your harm rate is 0, it lists everything on it. So I actually went back and done my homework on that, and it's good to go.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Do you mind finding out from Fastenal if we have a truck in a wreck and it damages everything in the truck? Who's responsible for that? Would it be school board or Fastenal?
I'm going to say it would be us, just because it's in our possession, but I will check and make sure. Yeah.
We have it insured, I know probably it's a
Was-
different.
It is, so you'd have to alert our agent that we need Bailey's coverage.
Yeah, well, I
not
will
belong to
find that out
us.
for sure. That will, a matter of fact, let me write that down.
I'm assuming that would be a lot of tools, like a pretty large. Yeah. I need that agent's number on speed dial. We can just text him
Well,
and ask.
Never thought of it. It's never crossed my mind. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, the March financial budget. The general fund is looking very good. We are still above last year at this time. Once again, I will say that we have had a little turn, they've made some adjustments based on enrollment that MFP is down. So to have general fund still moving upward is really helpful. The salaries, as you can see, with all the increases and also the forced, remember that in these salaries, we went from the second column, where it says salaries of $15,514,000 to $16,567,000. There's also the $1,500 a year raise from the governor. That's all built into these numbers as well. So that, and also the fact that they gave TATs out to, we had 50 additional people that we had to put on full services, full benefits. So even with that, I think we're doing very, very well. The budget is $25 million. We have $8 million left, and I believe we should be able to come in under budget there. Benefits are holding about the same. So overall, what I always like to see this time of year is a nice $3 to $4 million cushion. Remember that June, we have 3 payrolls. We have the June payroll, the July payroll, and the August payroll all get posted. And we need we need several $1 million there to cover all that. So I am certainly very happy about that. Child nutrition is showing a nice little $400,000 profit. And so Shauna, keep it going there. Once again, the revenues never quite catch up with the expenses, but in the end, by the year's end, the revenues and expenses will once again always be the same. So the highlighted third column, we've currently Title I expenditures and revenues eventually will be at $2.192 million, but that number will continue to go up. ESSER, $476,000, and ESSER 3, $1 million, $1,110,000. Everything looks. Is that off my voice? Is that off my voice that did that? It's funny. Okay, so were there any questions about the budget? If not, I'll move on to sales taxes, where we have good report. Last month, so once again, when you pull up sales taxes, once you pull it up and gets loaded here. There we go. Always go to the bottom.
I was a little worried about that number because,
Last month it went down.
Before, it sure did look
It
like
doesn't look like it's populated yet, so.
Yeah, mine.
There it goes, it's starting now. I found a way I can highlight in yellow the two numbers you need to look at. This right here, we had a 17% increase over the same month last year for the month of April. The cumulative difference for the year, and it is our fiscal year from July to the end of April, was overall almost an 8% increase in sales taxes over last year. That is very good. We are doing very well. I will say, looking at going to some of the conferences in March, not everybody is experiencing that, but we're fortunate that we are. Apparently there are people buying more cars.
I saw that, 16%.
16% increase over last year. So anyhow, the sales tax report is very good. I'm very, very happy about that. So what this means is, by the way, is that from this time last year, there's 1.4 million more dollars collected at this point in time. A portion of that is going into the sales tax for salaries, but it gives us around, what was the figure I sent to you, Dr. Eloy? It was about $900,000 in additional general funds that we did not have the same time last year. So if you know, like, for instance, of the 2.5% sales taxes that we collect parish-wide, 1% of that goes to the teacher's sales tax check. Well, the other 1.5% goes to our general fund. And so you take this number and divide it by 2.5 and multiply it by 1.5, and you get how much general fund gets extra over and above last year. So if that's too many numbers already, I'm just letting you know that it's actually very good, and we're one of few districts in the parish that are experiencing this, and I'm very happy we're one. So this is very nice. Okay, that's my sales tax report. Any questions? All right. Billy, if it's okay, I'll just stay up here for the next one.
Let's, Ms. Palmer, can you start your report, please, ma'am?
All right, number 5, Finance, Facilities, Services, and Insurance. A, adopt resolution attached to levy taxes for 2023. Mr. Wesley.
Okay, every year I have to give this report approved by y'all and signed by Dr. Eloy. It is a report of how many millages we would like to levy for the next coming year. After the elections that happened just last week, which they all passed, I'm very happy about that. We can then proceed with this millage rate. Constitutional is fixed. The one that got renewed is the second one, is the 7 mills, so we can continue on that for another 10 years. Also, I think it was the second Consolidated School District 8, Special 7, and then in District 9, which is the City of Natchitoches BRE funding, which is that all got renewed. So I can continue to bring this to you guys. That is our last election that we have to do until 2029. So I'm happy. It's a lot of paperwork. And
well, again, that the voters and the citizens in Natchitoches Parish have expressed that kind of confidence in what we're doing, and I pass it by such overwhelming numbers. That's great.
I will point out that under your bond issues, the Consolidated 7, Reverend Harrison Chad, that's y'all's district, that went from 8 mills to 6.
Yeah, it dropped.
It dropped because of collections. As our taxable assets go up, our millage can go down. Yeah. We can only collect enough to pay the bond. We can't collect more. The second one that went down was the School District 9, went from 6.9 to 6.6. And this was all in consultation with Brennan Black, which is our attorney that manages this stuff for us out of New Orleans, Baton Rouge.
Our people are happy out in our district.
Yeah, a 2 mil drop is significant.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to let y'all know that we just have to pass this resolution, and then we submit it to the state bond commissioner. No, and this also goes to Tim Page. So anyhow. Okay, so I present this for next week.
Thank you, Mr. Watson.
That's it. I'm done.
B, request to advertise for combination walk-in freezer, cooler bid. Ms. Hicks, she already has done that. Oh, you want?
Yes, it's just going out for bid. Like I said, we hope that's something we can do in the next fiscal year.
C, update to 2023-2024 salary schedule. Mr. Benefield?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. We're gonna have some input from Mr. Wascom and Superintendent Eloy, but if you'll open that first attachment, one of the things that we had some, I guess, discussion on was the MFP stipend and where that landed. And we had decided that we were gonna put it in every check, 12 checks a year, and it ended up that some discussion as to some board members did not remember where we were. What I'd like for us to do is open the floor for any discussion. If we'd like to change that, but I would like for us not to redo what we've done in the past, but to clarify what we've done in the past and
Right.
and go ahead and re-vote for this thing. So
Right.
is there any discussion on this item?
I just think, basically, it was talking about what you brought up last time. And I do think we must make that clear.
Yes, I agree. And that's the whole reason why we're here with this. Okay, any questions about that one?
This statement in yellow clarifies
bottom,
the
yeah.
fact that the
Okay. The second attachment,
yes, sir.
salary schedule, and it's highlighted in yellow. And for this item, I'd like Superintendent Eloy and Mr. Wascom to weigh in on.
Yes, sir. So I don't know how far this goes back, but for the longest anyone can remember, NSU has provided a stipend for their teachers at the lab schools. And so what's going to happen now moving forward, and this is for retirement purposes, we are now going to be paying that out through us and then be reimbursed by NSU. And this is, they've been asking us to do this for about a year, and we were finally able to do it without kind of messing with our payroll system. And so, but we wanted to, so we put that in the salary schedule because it is there and it's being paid out by us, but we wanted to make sure everyone knew that this is not coming out of general or federal funds. This is being paid by NSU for NSU teachers, but it still needs to be in there in our entire salary schedule.
So is it that we pay it and they reimburse us?
So what it's always been is that they got a separate payment from NSU.
Right.
But NSU is asking us to do in terms, and they, I can't remember the.
It has to do with TRSL.
TRSL.
Okay.
We submit their pay in TRSL, and they have to do this difficult adjustment to TRSL. They would rather just pay us to manage the whole
Best
thing.
way.
Yeah, that's fair.
So this is not anything new. This is not something special for the lab teachers. That hasn't been occurring from NSU for probably everyone's memory. So.
And do they understand and comprehend it? Because at the end of the day, if they don't comprehend and understand it, we're going to have problems still.
So what's going on with this? Nothing will change with how they're being paid. There was a change last year on NSU side. They used to pay them, I think, on a monthly basis, and then they went to twice a year. What we've said is we are just going to continue what they've already done. So there will be no interruption in service, no change to how they're being paid. They'll just get it within their normal monthly paycheck. So we will inform them of that. Probably actually not through an email or anything like that. That'll be a teacher meeting,
right?
After school meeting where we just say, hey, this is happening. It's not going to affect you at all. It's a good thing for you. It's a little cleaner,
right?
And just move on from that.
So do y'all see where it's 950 for some and 1,700 for others? Those with a Bachelor of Science degree in education get the 950. Those with a master or higher get 1,700. That's what, and it describes very well what the intent of the payment is for.
And that language comes from NSU.
It's directly from NSU, yeah.
What's the timeline on the reimbursement from them?
They will send it to us twice a year. They'll send it to us in December, and we'll try to get it out. We're going to pay it in December and in May, or it may be June, early June.
So as soon as we basically bill them. they'll reimburse.
Well, no, they're gonna give us who
gonna give
gets
it to us
paid
first.
what, and then we'll pay it, and then we'll send them a bill.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I see.
What I would like to see, board members, and this is for me personally, if we're ever questioned or we have a fuzzy memory this time next year, that we have it in the motion.
That's
in a
right.
special bullet, saying this is what happened and what we specifically did.
That
Same
way
with-
we can always go back
Yes,
and
sir.
see it.
Yes, sir.
Because if it's not written, it didn't happen.
I think we're all in agreement. We need to make sure that we're very clear moving forward, because we have had some things, and it's mainly with the employees who've asked questions, and we want to be clear and be able to give them concise answers when they do ask those questions.
Because some of us were not able to answer those questions in regards to that MFP.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Mr. Wascom, anything else?
There's one more. We have one more.
No, I mean, anything else?
Oh, it was regards to that.
Okay,
No,
thank you.
It was all good.
Last one.
The last one actually came from a question from a teacher to, well, let me start with the individual stuff. A teacher reached out to a board member, I think Mr. Fredu, about, well, what if you're the track coach and your team doesn't win state, but you coach a child who wins state in the 100-yard dash? And we hadn't thought about that.
No, we
And so that's where you see the individual advance from district to regional, in addition to if you're like the head coach of football or something like that. So we wanted to honor those people as well, and that's, a minimal cost.
So do y'all see where it says capped? If you have enough individuals to exceed the 250, we cap it at 250, which is the same as if you had a team.
Yeah.
Or they could have a team and a few individuals all go to state, but it's capped at 250.
Yeah.
So that way, it's all being seen.
And then if you scroll back up to the other yellow, what we had done is through our remediations of this, we didn't realize that we actually backtracked on some of our CECP coaches' pay. Unintentional. Miss Page brought it to our attention, and I think it was brought to her attention by some coaches. So we just remedied that to make it where they were not penalized by the new salary schedule.
Also, you will notice that down here on the first line where it says junior high and elementary coaches, band directors receive 50% of the multipliers. We got rid of the incentives that, the stipends. We used to say that this stipend right here would be 50% if you were a junior high. So because the past we used to pay, whether you're junior high or high school, $1,600, we decided to bring it to this number here. So this is more in line of what we used to do with the last salary schedule. So this is for the second line for 1,250 is really for your parents that help out and teach, which is they do a lot of really good work. So if you were at a middle labs, even middle lab or any of the junior high schools, you would only get half this number. So now it's going to be the full number, but it was still is the same on the multipliers up here.
That stipend.
The stipend is for these stipends are for non-certified coaches.
Head coach though, or assistant coach?
Yeah.
Because that would.
Many cases we have head coaches. Many cases we have head coaches.
Well, you are correct, because you have head coaches at junior high.
Yes.
We did
The
not
effort,
delineate those two.
well, no, wait a minute. The effort you put out at a high school level is slightly different.
Well, no, but I think what you're saying is you can't have CECP head coaches at the high school level in major sports.
You cannot, but you can at junior high.
But you can at junior
And
high.
they should receive a higher stipend than an assistant.
These generally are all assistants.
But we do need to have a line. So by Thursday, we can have a line that delineates a CECP head
Yeah.
coach at junior high versus.
Yes.
It just needs to say it, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Again, for
It'd be-
clarification, thank you, Mr.
Good point. Thank you.
Once again, a living document, we can keep going up with that.
Keep breathing life into it, Mr. Wascom.
That's right. Well, we've had far less
It's an easy fix.
problems than we've had in the past, so this is good. Okay, and I think that does it for the discussion about the minor updates to the salary schedule.
Board members, thank y'all for your patience on this. I think we're making a lot of headway in this area.
Discuss and consider Alliance Compressor ITEP non-compliance.
Yes, ma'am. So, Mr. Benfield, do you mind if I take this one?
You know, go ahead, sir.
So as y'all recall, last month we had with Marco, their non-compliance was different than this. They did not reach their goals. You as a board chose to not penalize them because that was during COVID time. These are actually, if you read it, on all three of these, they exceeded, in some cases, far exceeded their number of employees and their payroll significantly. The reason this is non-compliant, if you see in that paragraph, because they filed it a few days late. I don't know how late. I don't know why. I have been in contact with Alliance. I think they had a scheduling conflict today. They are willing to make an appearance next week, but in this case, they actually delivered significantly higher on their agreement than what, like this one. They were supposed to get a $450,000 payroll. They went to a $511,000 payroll. They were supposed to only have 15 jobs. They got 17 jobs. So they did everything. They just turned their homework in late.
Them. It had nothing to do with.
No, sir. It didn't have anything to do with us. No.
And the thing about it is they met their goals
Right.
that they put out there.
Yeah.
And in the way they calculate it, that's the reason they exceeded their goals, because their calculation's not very good.
No.
As everybody knows, but anyway, I think that they met it, and I don't know the reason for the filing. I don't know if the dates were communicated correctly. There's a lot of gray area in there, so.
Yeah.
This is interesting, they had 5 jobs required, and they actually created 15.
Right, and I mean, they blew it up.
This wasn't like Marco where there's a head count, overall versus a specific job. This is one where they exceeded all. The only thing they didn't meet was a timestamp.
Yeah, and this is prior to COVID too, so they don't have the COVID.
They don't, but I'm just, and I don't receive a vote on this, as y'all know, but I mean, they went over and above.
That just really doesn't have anything to do with us.
Yeah.
Here's the way I look at it. What they did, they met the goals, so we get the money. Everything touchdown. That's the way I look at it.
I caught it.
So, and we do have to have a vote on this, obviously, next Thursday, because we have to,
We can do several
board by the
things.
27th.
We can do several things. We can do just like we did at Marco, which is we vote to allow this to continue, but not any issues. We can ding them on a percentage where we can have them have a penalty payment. So there's 3 things. It appears that they have made all the steps except for one. And so, board, at that time, next Thursday, we'll make a vote on this.
I think you ought to ask Mr. Emile Matoir what to do on this.
You're gonna give some people a heart attack, Pastor Harris.
Had one last time.
But that concludes finance.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Dancy.
On executive report, MOU, Natchez Parish School Board and Type 3 Early Child and Education Centers. And Ms. Rachel has given us a MOU.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is a MOU between the Natchez Parish School Board and the Type 3. I noticed a typo there instead of Type 2, Education Center. And basically, we were giving $500,000 for the following purposes: to establish partnerships with existing child care providers to expand access, expand infant and toddler child care classrooms in existing facilities, leverage community-based facilities to expand child care options, and build child care supply in areas with limited to no options for early childhood care and education. And we had a plan of action to focus on option D, to open up a center in Fairview. However, there was some policy roadblocks on the state level. But I will tell you, since then, we are getting a policy change. It is actually going to Bessie. With that being said, we had to pivot really quickly. With that $500,000, we do not want to return back to the state My husband jokes with me, I can't believe you're having a problem spending money. But I'm having a problem spending this money. So we got with our early childhood network and we came up with a pivot plan to expand 3 of our child care centers. There is a great need because we have a wait list for several of our child care centers. And so this MOU would just be more of a startup fee for those 3 centers to get their classrooms up and running, and they are all ready to go. Furniture, license, everything's ready, so.
I do want to highlight, we're a little sad that we're not going to have the Birth to 3 Center at Fairview this year, but because of your work with the state, I feel like we are the impetus now for a policy change, which is going to allow other districts to benefit from all your hard work.
Absolutely.
Maybe in 2 years, we can have that center, or once they change the policy.
Right, EBR is very excited that they're moving in this direction now because they attempted to do the same a couple of years ago. And so we are making progress, not yet, and we are looking forward to expanding in the next couple of years once that policy has changed. So this is a good start.
Called the Sarah Rachel policy, right?
No, thank you.
No, the agenda
Really
item
straightforward.
says 300,000, but we were talking 500,000, right?
We have a total of 500,000. We use some of that as longevity stipends for our lead teachers and assistant teachers. So I was able to successfully support in the spending of almost 200,000. My husband would be proud. So we have about that much left on the table, and we have a couple of months. Well, we have until June 30th to get it done. So with your support, we can move. We are ready to move forward. We have a timeline ready to move forward with getting the furniture in, getting the employees, and releasing that funding to those 3 child care centers.
What locations?
Bright Beginnings, Phase Daycare, and Cobblestones. And those were, we presented this opportunity to all 3 of the type 3 child care centers, but all 8, but only 3 had the capacity to do this work in such a short time frame.
I know this doesn't have anything to do with this memorandum of understanding, but like in Goldana, I know there's room for a child care facility out there, but with the changing of state policy, would it do anything for out there as well?
I'm sure it's worth something, worth exploring. One of the things we did was we brought in an external company to do like a survey and just some logistics on the number of infant births in a certain area, so that we could identify what they call desert areas where there's a need for childcare, but there's a lack of quality childcare in that area.
Right.
And so Fairview and Marthaville were 2 of the top
And Fairview,
considered desert areas.
Fairview has a facility, but it's not ours, but someone is in the
They have a Head Start Center, yes, sir, but they don't have,
facilities can't exist on the same campus.
2 cannot exist. That was the old policy, 2 types of license. So they have for Head Start, and we were looking to have a type 3 license in the same building.
Mm-hmm. So we have the space, but because of that
Little bureaucratic,
Yeah,
really little bureaucratic rule that.
Well, there's some, Ms. Rasho, maybe you can lend some light on this. You know, there's a lot of limiting factors with single moms working in these facilities that we're talking about, the Warehousers, the International Papers, the Marcos. What about nighttime childcare? Is that something that's anywhere on the horizon with this MOU or anything like that? I mean, that's a limiting factor with a lot of young families And so I know there's a lot of details that need to be worked out, picking them up and so has that ever crossed your desk?
It has. We've had lots of conversations with our Ready Start Network Advisory Committee. The holdup there is workforce, getting the personnel to stay after hours. When you consider the logistics of feeding, bedtime, et cetera, those are not issues. It's getting the personnel willing to stay after hours as well as the pay, because they are some of the lowest paid employees that we have, and we want them to be seen as a profession. These lead teachers that we call them, and these assistant teachers, and that shift away from a daycare, because they are providing early care and education, but we're still not paying them as professionals. And so that has been the challenge in our district, is that we have identified that as a great need. We've had several conversations. We've, ready to move forward, but our child care centers are still struggling with sustaining their workforce during the daytime hours. So until we get some stability there, we can't look towards moving to the nighttime piece.
Yeah, it's a
Is
real tough.
scholarship program, the vouchers available in which of the daycare? Those three or any more have the scholarship vouchers available?
With the state of Louisiana, the child care assistant program, you can always apply for child care assistance through the state of Louisiana. I tell everyone not to give them false hope. We were told right now it's like winning the lottery. It's a lot of applicants for child care, unfortunately, and you may have heard our Birth of Three scholarship program is ending this year. Our state, we lost almost $900,000, and it wasn't anything that the district did. It's across the state when it comes to supporting early care and education. They're working now to write some different grants so that we can continue to support our families. But currently, our Birth of Three scholarships, which are available to all 8 Type 3 child care centers, and we used 85 of the 85 that were allowed it to us, is ending December 15th of this year.
So is Save the Children?
Save the Children is, no ma'am, that's a different entity. They are still up and running. They are still taking applications currently, teachingtomorrownow.com, if you need to apply for Head Start, public pre-K.
Really sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, we're working on it, though. We're working on it. I'll keep you posted. But please consider approving this, and we are ready to move forward. Any other questions, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Rosedale.
Thank you, yeah.
That concludes finance. Not finance, that concludes executive.
Stuck in a rut, Mr. Dancy.
We didn't address the item for out-of-state travel for the Hot Springs Conference,
That'll be on the consent agenda.
or Thursday.
Yeah, we're gonna have to scrub that, Ms. McGaskey.
No, we can't do that. We can't do that one.
Board members, if we don't have anything else, we will see you.
I would like to ask, have it on your mind for next Thursday if you're going to attend. I will have a sign-up sheet for you. So go ahead and let me know, so as soon as they open it up and they start registration, I'd like to.
Do we have the dates on that? Yeah. What are the dates?
15th through the 17th of July, I think.
To the 18th.
I won't be there.
15th to the 18th.
July 15th through 18th in Hot Springs.
Do we have any dates for policy committee?
No, we just need to get a benchmark. We'll just kick around and find out what's the best time for everyone. Okay, board members, see you next Thursday. Thank you.